Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony and welcome to another video. So I have my NHL Eastern Conference and Western Conference bracket challenge predictions coming up. But first I want to show you how I did in the beginning of the season based on my predictions. I was pretty close. I didn't have the Kings or the Devils making it. And I picked the Calgary Flames to make it. A lot of hockey aficionados were like, oh, the Flames suck this year. But I was like, no, they kind of had an off year, good year. And this was bound to be a good year for them. So that's why I had them. The Kings and the Devils didn't make it, but I don't really care because I hate both of those teams. I thought the Kings had one more year left with their old core, but I think they're officially done now. So yeah, there's that for the rebuild. And also I said the Ducks would suck. A lot of people thought the Ducks would make the playoffs. So, I mean, I was wrong, but then again, I wasn't right. So there's that. So now let's go on to my playoff predictions. I can talk about how right or wrong I was, but I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. So let's go on my bracket challenge. So everyone has Calgary, so I'm going to pick Calgary. I had them in the Western Conference Finals in my original predictions video, so I'm gonna have them in the second round now. I have Vegas over the San Jose Sharks because it feels like they just have their number. It feels like they're just in the minds of them, like they can't beat us. San Jose has kind of a thing that the Kings had last year. It's just like they're old. They have Carlson, but I think that they're done for. I think after this year they're gonna just fall off. You're kind of just waiting for it. So yeah, Nashville versus Dallas. Dallas had a lackluster year. I thought they'd do really well this year, but I think Nashville just has the better depth. And Peke Rinne can be a great goaltender. I really do think that Nashville can exceed expectations in the playoffs. But that's a big question mark. Winnipeg versus St. Louis. Honestly, this is the hardest decision to make. Winnipeg I had making it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals, as well as many other people did. But I don't know. It seems like this year they were supposed to pop, but they never did. And St. Louis is really hot, but they're young. They kind of remind me of Vegas from last year. It's just like, how are they playing as well as they do? But they're so smartly coached that I'm gonna have to pick St. Louis. So now you have Calgary versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas didn't really have the best season, and I did pick Calgary to make it the Western Conference Finals. But I trust Marc-Andre Fleury more than I do the Flames goalies. So Nashville versus St. Louis. This is another hard one. It's between the depth and between the youth and the old. And usually what happens is that the old beats the youth. But I don't know. This is hard. I'm gonna have to pick St. Louis to advance past, and then I'll pick St. Louis to go all the way to the finals because I don't think Vegas will make it to the finals 2 years in a row. So the team that had Binnington that fired their coach mid-season and has been hot recently, I'm riding it. I'm riding it all the way. And obviously I'm going to create another bracket based on what I think that my preseason predictions. So I'm going to make those brackets and compare to see how they go. So let's go on to the Eastern Conference. You have Tampa Bay Lightning versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. And man, I had the Columbus Blue Jackets versus Tampa Bay in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I have to pick one of them. And, Tampa Bay doesn't win this season, it'll be a shame. And I also want to win the $100,000 prize. As much as I want to pick Columbus Blue Jackets to upset the Lightning, I really can't. So I'm picking the Lightning. Boston versus Toronto. This feels like San Jose versus Vegas. Feels like Boston has their number, but I don't know. This one was probably the second toughest series to pick between the Jets and the Blues. This is probably the same. I'm gonna have to pick Toronto because you had Penguins and the Capitals, where the Penguins just kept on beating the Capitals, and eventually the Capitals just broke out of nowhere. It was really unexpected. Toronto, they have Austin Matthews, they have Tavares, and I think they're gonna eke past the Bruins. Next, you have Washington versus Carolina. As much as I want to pick Carolina, I did pick them to break out this year and make the playoffs. And I thought the Washington Capitals would kind of bounce back from last year. And it's really the Knights that bounced back. I kind of got that swap wrong. Usually it's the team that loses that, has a Stanley Cup hangover. And I got that wrong. I thought the Capitals, since they won it, they would have a little bit of a hangover. But Ovechkin scored 51 points again. Braden Holtby had a little bit of a bounce back season as goalie. And I trust that experience more than I do anything with Carolina and their youth. So I'm going to pick Washington. Next, I have Islanders versus Pittsburgh. Reminds me a little bit of the Blues in Winnipeg, but the difference is that I think Pittsburgh has that core of Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, and a couple other guys that, you know, have been there around for a while. They know what the playoffs are. They have Matt Murray, who hasn't really goaltended that well, but I think their experience will carry them through the first round. And then I have Tampa versus Toronto. I have Tampa winning that series because Toronto, I don't really trust them in the playoffs. Never have, never will. They seem to be on and off. And I don't trust Tampa Bay either. But they've gone to the Stanley Cup Finals. They've gone to the Conference Finals. Toronto hasn't really had that success, and I don't trust them. And yeah, so going on, we have a Pittsburgh versus Washington game. I think Pittsburgh has the edge here. Pittsburgh is going to want revenge, and I think that they're more well-rounded than Washington. Washington has been dealing with a couple injuries towards the latter part of the season, so I think that first series kind of maybe wear them down a little bit or something, and Pittsburgh takes that in either 6 or 7 games. It's not going to be 5, but it's not going to. I don't think it might not be 7 either. So next is the Tampa Bay versus Pittsburgh, and I think Tampa is just king. I think Tampa is just too well-rounded. They're too good, and picking anybody besides Tampa is a dumb mistake. Well, every mistake is dumb, I guess, but I really don't want to pick Tampa because everyone's picking Tampa, and I kind of want to be a little bit edgy and stuff, like a little bit hipster, I guess, going against the current. But I don't see how Tampa Bay does not make the finals. They have depth. They have old people like Ryan Callahan, Dan Girardi. Then you have Kucherov, and you have Stamkos, they've kind of exceeded expectations. The only thing I can see is their goaltending. Their goaltending is their only problem going into the playoffs. And if that can last, I think they're good. So I have them winning the finals and 41 goals. Pick the certain amount of games in the first round. I probably shouldn't have mentioned how many games, because now it's kind of weird how I'm doing it like last, but whatever. We have Colorado versus Calgary. I think that's going to be 5 games. San Jose versus Vegas. I think that's going to be 5 games. Not a sweep like last year. Dallas versus Nashville. I think it's going to be a little closer than people think. And Blues versus Winnipeg. It has to be in 6 games because I think if it goes to 7, Winnipeg will take it because they have home ice advantage, which is making me want to take Winnipeg even more, and it makes me even more scared that I have the Blues in the finals. So let's go on to the Eastern Conference. Tampa Bay versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to say 7. 6. Okay, I think 6 is. I don't think it's going to go 7 games. That'd be ridiculous. Tampa Bay has crushed Columbus in every single game that they played against each other so far this year. Toronto versus Boston. I think this is another 7-game set, and Toronto gets the edge. I just something has to give. Not something has to give, but Toronto. Come on, you have to win, right? It's kind of like the Winnipeg Jets. You have one of the highest payrolls. You have one of the highest audiences. You got to make something happen as a Canadian team. I believe in them. Even though Canada hasn't had the highest rep in the past couple years. Then you have Washington versus Carolina. I think Washington, this is a breeze for them. I said they might get a little banged up, but I don't know. I think Washington, this is a pretty easy series for Washington. And then as far as the New York Islanders and Pittsburgh, I have Pittsburgh in 6. I think New York Islanders will make a game or two interesting. They'll win like a game or two, like 6-1. You'll be like, oh yeah, they can win, but really they can't. Good season by the Islanders. A lot of people didn't think they'd be that good with the loss to Tavares, but they have had a good season. It's just that their goaltending, I don't really trust it. I trust the Blues goaltending, but not the Islanders, because the Islanders showed they can't do it in the playoffs. With the Blues, with Jake Allen and Binnington, they can get it done, I think. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know your predictions. And as always, I'll probably make a follow-up video about this and to see where I was right, where I was wrong. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.